In Solomon Rushdie's book, Haroun and the Sea of Stories, Chapter 5, about guppies and chupwallas, Haroun and his two new friends, If the Water Genie and But the Hoopoe Bird, are on their way to Gup City, where Haroun has requested a meeting with the walrus. While they're flying across the Sea of Stories, they meet something Haroun has never seen before. It was a plant that somewhat resembled a man. They stop and have a conversation with him, and he says, "I'm a floating gardener. My name is Molly." And to himself, Haroun asks, why doesn't he sink? He walks across the water, and then, but through his mind, says he would be a sinking gardener if he would sink. That's why he's a floating gardener, because he floats. And so they say, "Oh, well, nice to meet you, and you should come with us." So Molly decides to go with them to Gup City. As Haroun and his three new friends continued along their journey to Gup City, they met two things that Haroun resembled as giant angelfish. When he saw them, he asked in his head, "What are these things? They look like giant angelfish." And Butt, in response, said, "They're plenty-maw fish." And Haroun thought back to earlier when he was talking to old Snooty Batu and realized that Snooty Batu wasn't lying. There really were plenty-maw fish. And Butt added, "Plenty-maw fish always go in twos. They're faithful partners for life. And to express this perfect union, only and always do they speak in rhyme." Then, as if reading their minds, the plenty-maw fish answered, "All this bad taste, too much dirt, swimming in the ocean starts to hurt. Call me Baga, this is goopy. Excuse our rudeness, we feel droopy. Eyes feel roomy, throat feels sore. When we're better, we'll talk more." So Haroun asked them, "Oh, well, why do you feel so sick?" And they answered, "The pollution that has been taking over the ocean, we inhale it through our 13 mouths, and it really hurts us on the inside." And then Haroun tells them that they're traveling to Gup City because Haroun wants to speak with the walrus. So they decide to go with them. And off on their way they all went. After their long travels across the Sea of Stories, Haroun and his 5 new friends finally reached the city of Gup. And now they were off to meet the walrus. Haroun and his new friends finally arrive at Gup City. They travel to the square and notice there's a huge commotion in the middle of it. Haroun looks up at the balcony and notices 4 people that are standing there. The 2 in the red looked to him like the king and the prince. The golden book looked like the general, and the egghead, he didn't really recognize what he looked like. So he asked someone in the crowd, "Who's that with the mustache?" And they say, "That's the walrus. Isn't his mustache fantastic?" And Haroun thinks to himself, "Mustache? That looks more like a rat tail." And so then the king walks to the edge of the balcony and calls for silence. He stands there for a couple of moments and then steps back because he doesn't know what to say. Prince Bolo then steps forward and says, "They've taken my Bachit, my beloved Princess Bachit, along the Twilight Strip." And everybody gasps and is upset about the whole idea. Prince Bolo then says, "We will find who did this, and we already believe it's the chupwallas." So then, Prince Bolo backs down, and the general steps up and says, "We sent out a patrol along the border of the Twilight Strip, and we captured a man that we didn't recognize as a gup or a chup." And then Prince Bolo goes down and brings up the prisoner. The man was wearing blue pajamas, and Prince Bolo says, "I will interrogate this man myself to find out if he's the one that took my Bachit." So he takes his hood off, and Haroun gasps and drops his chocolate, realizing it's his dad. That's the end of Chapter 5.